What's going on? It's your friend and mortgage broker, David Carr, with the AZ Realty Podcast. I'm joined today by Frank De Venuto. What's going on, my friend?
Oh,
that was Chris.
Good to be here.
That was Chris and clean. So, Frank, you're a man of a lot of stories. You've been in the real estate game for a while. There's a lot of things that I want to ask you today. So today's podcast is all about professionals in real estate, kind of finding out what gets them going. How'd you get into real estate? And, the viewers here want to learn what they could do to, make their career in real estate better.
So they can make more money?
Exactly. Because that's at the end of the day. The more people you help, the more money you make. So if you could just take me back, when did you get into real estate?
Yeah, to be honest, it goes way, way back. I bought my first property when I'm from Chicago originally.
Yeah.
And I bought my first property when I was living in Chicago when I was 20 years old. And I bought a condo at Alta Mesa Chateau, the corner of Higley and Brown. And I rented it out seasonally. And that was my first, my parents always had real estate. Not that they were rich, they were immigrants, and they knew the value of having real estate, renting it out, and how that can build wealth and make money for you and help support a family. And so I got into it. I did it, and I saved up a bunch of money. I'm going to touch on one thing. My kids even come to me. I hear a lot of people on Instagram, and they say that the American dream is dead. And I'm going to tell you, it is not. You're just not working hard enough. And so I'll say this. You are not going to buy a house on a salary from Popeyes. It's just not going to happen. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. And it's actually a much better job than when I was younger. But I had 3 jobs. I never slept. The last 5 years I was in Chicago, and I moved out here in 96. But the last 5 years I was in Chicago, I was working in a factory with my father. And I worked there about 60 hours a week. And then I was parking cars on the weekends. And it was a good cash job. And then, the little bit of time I had left, I'd go deliver pizzas too.
So you weren't stopping.
I had a goal, man. I knew that. I said it was first, I was in a year. I was going to save up as much money as I could and then move to Arizona. But it had turned into, I was making such good money. And I was making such good headway. My dad said, stay and just save as much as you can. And my parents were really supportive in that way. They were like, hey, as long as you're not pissing your money away, you could stay here and save. And so I did for 4.5 years. And then I moved out here and I started buying. And I think by the time I moved out here when I was 25. And by the time I got to 29, I think I had like 18 or 20 properties.
18 or 20 properties.
It was a lot different to get loans back then.
What do you mean by that?
It was a lot easier.
A lot easier.
A lot easier. It was pre-2008.
Okay.
And it was a lot different. But I would go in there with just bank statement loans. And, people ask me, my kids ask me, like, oh, but you must have had such low interest rates. And then I thought to myself, I don't even remember what the rates were. I was just always looking at the payment and what can I make this property cash flow? And I looked back and it was about what the rates are now.
Oh, okay. So it's not like you weren't even hyper focused on the rate. You were like, does the property make sense? Will it cash flow if I buy it, right?
That's it. And I think so many people, because it's ridiculous. We are never going to see 3% again. We are never going to see 4% again. If we do, it's World War III.
Yeah.
We
have other problems at that point.
And no one's buying houses.
Yeah.
That's the problem. They're lowering because no one's buying houses. But, I'm a firm believer in just deal with what you got. Like if you're going to sit here and complain, I told my kids this, if you're going to sit around and complain about the American dream's dead for me, go get the American dream. The American dream is about working hard, harder than most of them have ever done, and then doing something with it, making it work for you. And it's so important. And listen, every generation bags on the next generation.
Naturally, right?
We were talking about it. I was talking about it with my dad. He says, I thought you guys were lazy, and everybody does that. But the truth is there is a certain percentage of the population that is never going to do the things that it takes to be truly successful. And it's just their choice. It's not any lot in life that they have. It's their choice. And you got to choose. Like, I'm going to do this. Don't just say it. Let's come up with a plan. Let's do it. And now that I'm older, this is one of the things that I've, in real estate, this is how we met, was when I recruited you over to Barrett Real Estate. And, it's one of the things I do is I try to say, what do you want to do? Let's get a plan. I love that because I think the most important thing you can do is helping other people. And we all talk about it, but are you helping them, or are you trying to help them so you can get something from them?
Okay, depending on where your mindset. But so you brought up a really good point. I want to talk about that. You said coming up with a plan, because there might be someone watching it, or there might be someone at home right now who's like, I really do want this. They don't know where to start, right? They don't know. They want to make X amount of money because they want to, pay off their debt, pay off buy their mom a house, whatever it is. They have the actual things, but they don't know how to get from point A to point B. And it sounds like you help people,
Yeah.
figure that out, especially like realtors.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this, there's no magic wand.
There's no magic wand.
Okay.
I wish there was, but there isn't. Right?
A lot of people make it sound like that's what it is. And a lot of people, you think you passed the test, you took the class, passed the test, and you did something.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I thought the same thing because, to be honest, I didn't have my license. I was an investor for a long time. I only got my license in 2019 because I had to sell. I've had several businesses out here that I built. And when I got divorced in 2019 and 20, I had to sell my business that I built for 18 years and had to start over. And so obviously I said, let me just do full-time real estate. And then when people say you got to have a plan, you literally have to have a goal. And you have to say, like, I want to do this. And agents will tell you, I've talked to hundreds of agents. I told you when I recruited you.
Yeah, of course.
We built Barrett Real Estate. Maybe we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I've talked to thousands of agents, and they all say about the same thing.
Yeah.
Most of them. And they're like, I want to make six figures. Like, okay. Are you making, and here's the thing. They're so committed that they're like, I'm going to make six figures. Like, I have to make six figures or this is a failure. And I go, are you making six figures now?
Mm-hmm.
And they're not. And they're nowhere near it. And so then I tell them, I said, well, why that number? And they're like, well, it kind of feels like success. Not as much anymore these days, but I mean, it kind of feels like you've done something when you've gotten to six figures.
Well, yeah, because that seems to be like, the
benchmark.
The benchmark where it's like, hey, if you make this, you're doing well. You figured out, you cracked the code. You're doing something right, and, you could, keep going on. So I guess, but from hearing from your perspective, a lot of people have that benchmark in their head, whether it's society or whether they just, like the number or however it looks, that's success to them.
And then they have no plan.
And
so, and everybody's plan's different. Like my son, my youngest son, he's 23 and he is getting his license. And so we talk about this often, and he has a similar goal. And he says, well, what do you think my plan is? I go, well, your plan's a lot different than the guy that's got a wife and three kids. And he goes, well, why is that? I go, because they've got bills to pay. Like they have to make money.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't make money, you're still living in my house. Yes, he's still living in my house. And I love it. His stepmother hates it, but I'm just teasing, but he loves it. And I love having him there, but his plan is going to be different. When I talk to the people that say, I have a full-time job, I want to do this. And, I have a wife and two kids to feed and I got a mortgage. And I say, well, don't quit your full-time job to do this. You don't have to quit your full-time job to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And so for someone like that, I would say, keep doing what you're doing. And let's plan on utilizing time. You're going to be working very hard. So talk to your wife, let her know, if I'm going to do this, I need your support because you're going to be getting up at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning to do work. And then if you can, depending if your job allows, you do something at lunchtime, you may follow up with some phone calls, texts, and emails. And then when you get home from work, you are going to be showing houses. You're going to be out there. And if you're willing to do that, then you can make it work. If you can't, sometimes maybe you can just do part of it. Like maybe you can just get the client in the door, like they're your friends, it's family members, and maybe you're going to refer that out. Find a really good referral partner. You can refer it to me.
Right here.
Yeah. But seriously, like I'll help you get through that process, give you a good solid, especially if it's your mom or something, like give you a good referral fee on that. And then work through it. And then what I tell you is, as we're getting through, like say, hey, you sent me 12 deals this year. Let's look at what that would have been like if you didn't have to refer it out. And then you can make a decision on whether you can keep at your job or maybe make the transition. And, it's really up to them at that point. You're just trying to give people the opportunity and show them and just put it in front of them. But that's one way. And I do that with lots of agents. Lots of agents are in that same boat.
And to give a little background too, so you run a team, right? This is, what you're discussing is things that you offer your agents that are part of your team.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of agents that I talk to, they don't want to join a team. And the main reason is they just don't want to give up any money. And I get that.
Yeah.
And I get it. But these people, I will talk to agents that will be they'll negotiate so hard for their commission split. And I look at them and go, you did one deal last year. And really, I think the focus, and you could see the problem. And I go, I think this is part of your problem is you're focused on the wrong things and wanting people to be better. And just focus on the right things. Like this is the goal. Listen, try the team for a while. If you hate the split in 6 months, quit.
Okay.
If you're not better in 6 months or starting to see, then quit. we're not holding anyone hostage here. There's no handcuffs or zip ties, right? I think the big thing for us is, and this is a new team for me. And my partner, his name's Rob Becker.
Yeah.
And he's formerly from Top Rock Realty, which was his brokerage. And I had talked to him. I tried recruiting him over to Barrett Real Estate. And we'll talk about that again. I keep referencing back to working for Barrett Real Estate when they first started. And, but I had been talking to him. And then when I went back to full-time real estate, we stayed in touch and we were just great friends. And recently I was talking to him and it just made sense. And he said, why don't I close my brokerage and come over and let's do this team together. And he goes, I think the most important thing is that we work well together. We communicate
There you go.
really well together. And it was the kind of thing where went into it with our hair on fire and we're kind of running through the halls because in a matter of like a week and a half, his 30 agents moved over to Barrett. We hadn't even signed. I just signed the agreement like the other day.
Oh, wow. So you guys went, went right into it.
But here's the thing is I told him, I said, if we're worried about what's going to be in that agreement, because we've talked about it.
Yeah.
If we're worried about that, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. And so we just wrote it up and we did it. And we're going full steam ahead. Now the goal isn't just to have those 30 agents. We're going to have 60 agents by the end of the year. And, people say, they go, that's a lot. And I go, but I have a plan. And I've done it before.
I was going to say, because that kind of naturally brings us into your recruiting, because that's how you and I met, because you recruited me to Barrett Real Estate. A lot of people don't know this, but I actually have my real estate license. I don't actively advertise it because I focus mostly on my mortgage business, but that's how Frank and I met because, started with one message, some time passed by, but you didn't stop. And that's one of the things that like really stuck up to me about you is that you said you were going to do something. You said you were going to follow up with me and you did. And that went on for a while. So that really showed like this guy, when he says something, he means what he says.
Yeah. That's the way I was brought up. My father always taught me, he goes, you want to be someone that people trust and respect, and doing the things you say you're going to do are really important. And not just in business, but like in everything you do in life. And you know a little bit more on my story because we do know each other. We have another connection as well, which is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
That's right.
And my brother. And for those of you that don't know, for those of you know, you know.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't, you should try a class. But
100%.
People think it's like karate and you're breaking boards in class, and it's not. It's the most physically demanding sport I've ever been involved with. And I wrestled in high school. I played football, and it is just very physically and mentally demanding. Yeah, it's just really important. I think that in everything you do, I'm going to lead into this story. So when in 2019, that was a year that defined me. And my kids always ask me, they said, if you were going to define yourself in one word, what would that be? I'd say 2019.
Wow. So this sounded like a significant year for you.
It was a moment where things could have gone really bad, and they did. It was really hard. So, 2019 for me, I remember my kids asked me if you could describe yourself in one word, like something that defines you. I'd look at them and say it was 2019. Mm-hmm. I was with my first wife for 24 years. We got separated on January 1st, 2019. So New Year's Day. I remember that New Year's Eve, I am a Christian man, and I was praying and saying, I'm just looking forward to next year. And I'm so excited for next year and really excited. And honestly, man, the next day, my whole world fell apart. And my kids were, they were there. They saw it all. And I won't get into the details, but they knew everything. They saw everything. It was really tough. And for the next couple of months, was not the guy you see before you today. And I was broken. I was truly broken. But, you lay on the floor for a couple months crying and your kids see you. And I remember, I get emotional just talking about it, but I remember dropping the kids off at school, going back, and I was just going to, I didn't know what I was going to do. And I remember looking in the mirror. It's like, I don't know how I got here. Mm-hmm. And I think I kind of had one of those epiphanies where I had a question asked back at me, and I believe it was God talking to me. And he said, what are you going to do?
Sounded like you felt, you felt that right there. You said you were at the stopping point. I have to do something
Yeah. So when they came home, I had a plan.
Mm-hmm.
I had a plan. Said, I'm going to double down on my faith, double down on my family, my friends, and I'm going to double down on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
That's it.
And I did. And I'll tell you what, I'm not crying now because I'm so sad at what happened.
No.
I think about what happened between that day and December 16th, 2019. So one of my goals was for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was I was going to rebuild my career, my life, and I was going to would be a world champion in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's kind of a tall order. I was a blue belt. I was 48 years old, I think, at the time. And, but I put it out there and you can't take it back. That's why you say it out loud. And that's important. Say it out loud.
And was everyone around you, they knew this was your plan?
You have to let everybody know, because otherwise it's easy for you to back out.
Okay,
it's easy for you to cower.
This was a public statement at this point.
Yes. I told everybody. I went to the gym. I told everybody what I was going to do. And you know what happened is I thought it was just this me thing.
Yeah.
And over the course of the year, people that I knew on Facebook and Instagram, they saw what was happening. They saw the posts. They knew something was going on, didn't exactly know what. And I just gathered so much support from people I hadn't seen in like 30 years.
Really? So these are people from like high school, people
Yes.
from your like past life, that you maybe had some sort of connection, but they're revitalizing that connection because they see what you're doing. They want to support you.
When I have a relationship with you, it's a sincere relationship. And even if I didn't know you that well, but when I'm with you, like I really try to be there and always try to be encouraging to people. And so that for the time in my life when I needed it, it came back to me.
It came back to you.
I even had a friend I hadn't seen literally in 30 years. He invited me. He's like, come stay with me in Florida for a couple weeks. You need a break. He goes, I'll pay for it. Because at that time, business was shut down. I had no money. I was broke.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
What were you doing before?
Well, I had a limousine company that I had built, and I did that for 18 years, and I had my real estate portfolio as well. So I was managing that, but that all got shut down. And I'll tell you, don't get in the limo business, man. It was a tough business. I hated it. It was 4:00 in the morning every weekend.
Oh, I'm sure, right?
It was hard, but I did it because I had to feed my family. And so my brother and I did that together for a long time. I'm proud of it. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
And, built something from nothing. I had one car in front of my house and we built it up to one of the largest limousine and party bus companies in Arizona. Not the stuff you see out there now. Because honestly, I'm kind of disappointed in the way the industry has gone when I see some of the garbage that's out there. But we had beautiful new fleet. We had like 20 plus vehicles. I think it was 21 vehicles at one time. And it was all limos and party bus. I had 6 Hummer stretches. You pull in my parking lot, man.
Oh man, yeah. Where'd you park it all?
we had lots. I remember it started in front of my house and then it moved to a small lot and then a bigger lot. But it was great.
So you were able to, actually grow something from nothing to something. So you saw the progression. You've been through the struggles, the days where you probably felt like, is this even what I want to do? Or is this what,
But I had to do it.
I had to do it.
And that's the
what
thing
kept
is
you going.
I had those thoughts of let's sell this, let's do something else. But what are you going to do?
Exactly.
And when I was forced to do it, that's when I said, I'm just going to go back to full-time real estate. And that was, and just building something again. And, so how that came about is a friend of mine had a small boutique brokerage. Well, let me finish. So by December 16th, 2019, I had done what I said I was going to do. I went to California. I won world championship as a blue belt in my age group. So let's put it in perspective.
First off, it's no easy feat. Don't let him undersell you here. This is, you're competing with all the best people in your bracket, your age group. So just came back from World League, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's tough, right? So I remember, and honestly, you think that I would have got emotional. Like I'm getting emotional telling you the story. I wasn't emotional then.
No, you were determined.
I got a silver in the absolute division. So I went afterwards, and it's where you go there's no weight classes and you fight again. And I lost just by a hair and that. And I was really proud. I was more proud of the silver than I was of the gold, to be honest. We got in the car, started driving home. My phone was blowing up. I was literally, WhatsApp, because I had people. What happened over the year was I was training at other schools, other Gracie Baja schools. And so I got to know everybody at schools. It wasn't just my school. It was other schools. My professor has a school in Brazil, and they were all watching. He actually won. He won Worlds. They were all watching because he won Worlds that same weekend. And then I won, and it was just amazing. It really was. And so we're driving home, and the phone's blowing up. And I just told my friend that was with me, G, and I told him, I said, hey, can you just put a thing out on Facebook for me? It just says I'll call everybody tomorrow. And we were driving home, and I remember everybody was asleep. Kids, my boys got to see it. They were in the back seat, and we were driving. I was driving through Indio, California. I was driving, and it hit me, and I did it, And for me, it was super powerful because I wasn't thinking about winning. It was all those calls and all those texts and all that support. So for me, 2019 defined me.
Mm-hmm.
I did what I said I was going to do. And I'm really proud of that.
It's like you said earlier, you stay true to your word.
Yep.
You're not someone who's ever going to, if you say something, you're going to do it. And that was the true definition.
Just
right
don't
there.
feel too special, because every time I tell that story, I cry. Every time.
No?
I can't help it. And it's because of the support and the friends I have that really believed in me more than I believed in myself at some times. So
Is that what kept you going?
it's one of the things. That's the way I've always been in my life. I've always had to be self-motivated.
Mm-hmm.
This was probably the first time that I really had like an enormous amount of people that were pouring into me in a way that I had never had before. And so I think it's important that it's one of the things I always do. Someone made fun of, when I worked at the gym for a little bit during COVID,
Okay.
at GB Scottsdale. And when I was working there, one of the guys would come in and he make fun of me because I tell everybody, I'm proud of you. Great job. And he's like, oh man, it's not even like a practice today unless Frank tells me that he's proud of me. And I do that for everybody. I mean, there was one motivational speaker that I talked to, and he's like, you should ask people how it made them feel. And I tried that for a little bit. But to tell you the truth, it just didn't feel the same for me.
No.
I think that we live in a world where I want people to feel the way I felt.
That you would, in an ideal world, you would be able to replicate that feeling to someone else. You know?
I want people to, I always try to encourage people like, hey, you can cry, like not tough love. Like, I know you can do this.
Mm-hmm.
You know that there's nothing stopping you. I think people forget, and you think you don't have the control you do. You have more control over your life than you give credit for. You just got to take it. You've got to reach out and take control of your life one thing at a time. If that's what it is, make a list of things and just, honestly, that whole year in 2019, I just said, I just need some small wins. And so every day I had an opportunity to go and win in the gym, to win at work, win with my kids. And so it's little wins. And all that stuff builds up, and you keep moving forward and you never stop. And I think that's just something that people don't have as much of. And I think it's probably got a lot to do with social media. A lot of kids, I know when I grew up, joining a sport was important. And I don't know that it's quite as important now. And so I think they lose all that from coaches, all that inspiration from coaches in your life. And I think it's important. So, if I'm coaching you in business, then I'm trying to be supportive of you, because I know that they may not, who knows what they have at home? Who knows the pressures they have?
That's true. Everyone has a different story. And I really love what you're talking about, because that's one of the reasons why I personally stuck with BJJ and like kept going. I went into it knowing that I wasn't going to be good. I went in knowing that I was going to get my butt kicked, but it was because of the coaches, the people around me who kept encouraging me, who kept telling me, good job, man.
Yeah.
Who was like, you know what? Maybe I did get better. I didn't get submitted on that. And we live in a world, unfortunately, it's negative. We sometimes, even in our minds, could put like a negative connotation on everything. So just the fact that what you're doing is trying to brighten people's day and, show them that positivity and keep them, get them to keep going. I love it. And, it truly works. It makes people keep on going.
Make it a habit.
Yeah.
Just make it a habit. And we get in the habit of, my dad, I'll never forget this. A lot of people, you get cut off in traffic and you see that person at the light.
Oh, yeah.
They want to yell at them, flip them off. My dad would wave at him and smile.
The total opposite, right?
Exactly. And so I know I get that from my parents, like my very empathetic family of other people. And so just give to other people, man. I mean, people got stuff going on in their life. They got shit going on in their life you don't know about. Stuff they haven't even talked about. They got to unpack it still. So how about you just make somebody a better day? But hey, bro, it's all good, man. Give someone a break when they don't deserve it, and you will be better for it. And they will too. And
it's going against that natural reaction, because sometimes,
we all get it.
You want to flip that bird. You want to tell that person how you feel. But, next time I'm in traffic, I'm going to pull a
wave at him.
Yeah,
the Pasquale De Venuto. Just
give him a wave there. So Frank, one thing I noticed about you, just to shift a little bit from where we've been talking, in talking about your team, is one thing I noticed in all your photos, you're pointing.
Yes.
What's going on? What's the point? Where did that come from?
It's a funny story. Actually, I was my wife. I was just doing some headshots. I was getting my business cards done.
Yeah.
I didn't have any good headshots, and so my wife, we went out in the backyard. I put myself up against a white wall, and we were taking pictures. And you're doing all the same pictures.
Oh yeah.
That every realtor takes, right? You're gonna look like everybody else. And my wife goes, "Come on, do something crazy." And so I forget what I did, and then I went and pointed. And she goes, "That's the best picture of Maul." And I said, "That's the one on my business card." Right?
I love it.
Be memorable. And so then it just turned into something. Because actually my son, it was a few months ago, my son was at a restaurant with his friends, and this guy walked up to him. He's like, "Hey, I know your dad." And he goes, "Oh yeah." He goes, "How do you know my dad?" And he goes,
The point.
And he goes, oh, you do know my dad. So he sat down, he took a picture of him, and they both pointed, and he sent it to me. And Jack goes, hey, your friend says hi. And I'm like, who the frick is this guy?
No idea who he was.
No idea. So I went on, I took the picture, I put it on Facebook, told the story, and said, if you are this guy, let me know, because I don't know you and I'd love to get to know you. He reached out. He's like, we only know each other through Facebook, and he was a real estate agent as well.
Okay.
And so, but the point, it just became a thing. Even I had a friend of mine, we had an anniversary for a high school reunion, and a friend went around with FaceTime kind of saying, hey, I got Frank De Venuto on the phone. And there's all these people there I hadn't seen in 30 years, but you know what they all did?
They're all pointed. See, you made your brand.
Yes,
so it's really about like you. That's your brand. Every time I see someone pointing, I'm like, I think of you.
Yeah, and that's great that you do that, right? And that's what branding is, and it just happened.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't intentional, and that's why when we combined our team, because my team initially was the Real Point Group, and my partners was the Top Rock Realty. And so we said, how can we combine this and we both put so much time and effort. And so we're the Top Point team. And so I said, hey, now you got to start pointing with me, right? So he does it too. So he does, it's fun. And he's a great partnership. We wanted to make sure that we brought everything together, and it didn't want it to be about one or the other.
No. So it sounds like it was a true collaboration, not more of like, a merger or something like that. Yeah. So I know we were touching on it briefly, but if you could walk me through your BJJ career, like Frank the white belt, like how did Frank find himself in jiu-jitsu even?
I wrestled in high school and a little bit in college. Being a college athlete is a whole nother thing, and I did not want to do that. I flunked out of college, actually. That first year I didn't enjoy it. I always say college was the best 9 months of my life. So I remember that I had really gotten overweight. I was I owned a limousine company, and I looked like a limo driver. And I was about 250 pounds, maybe 255. And I had a couple of close family members that were about my age that both passed away. They both died abruptly. One of them died right in front of my dad. And it was my cousin. And I remember saying, if I don't do something about this now, I'm on that road. And so I started running. I got my kids up. I said, hey, it was summertime. I said, hey, if you don't run with me, Dad's going to die. Maybe that sounds bad, but I needed someone to do it with me.
You needed accountability.
So they all ran with me, and we just said, let's just run a mile. And that was my goal, is we'd just run a mile, and I'd come back. And honestly, that 10-minute run, 15-minute run, I would just sit down afterwards for like 45 minutes. Like, I was really out of shape. And, over the next couple of weeks, it started getting easier. And then the kids didn't want to get up with me. And I just started doing it myself. And 1 mile turned to 2 and 4. And I'm like, and I was running, like, on average, I was running about, 5 to 6 miles a day. And I lived near Camelback Mountain, and I started climbing Camelback Mountain like 4 days a week. Met some great people up there, and very motivating people on the mountain. And after I'd done some things, I did a Tough Mudder, which was a goal of mine. And I said, you know what? I want the next challenge. What's the next challenge going to be? And I said, I want to try this jiu-jitsu thing.
But how did you find it? Did someone
It literally opened up. Like, I said that, and it was kismet. Like, it literally opened up like 3 blocks from my house.
No way.
Yeah, the initial school was just on 46th Street and on Thomas. And so I went down there, I tried a class, and I said, this is freaking great, and then I looked at I brought my oldest son with me, and I said, if we're going to do this, like, we're doing this, like, we're going to get black belts. Like, I'm not doing this and I didn't even know what that meant at the time. Didn't realize what I was getting myself into, but I said, if we're going to do this, let's do this, but all the way. And so we signed up, and this was like in 2017. And then, so we did it. And, after he did it for a couple of years too, and then my other son came and did it with us too. And we had a great time. We really hung out after practice, and they call it Hazania. And Hazania means like the review, but it's really just like everybody's kind of hanging around on the mat and hanging out. And so we had a great time and made some great friends. And 2019, I told the boys they didn't want to do it anymore because of everything that happened. And I said, you don't have to do it anymore, but I'm not quitting. I'm going to show you, I'm going to do what I said I was going to do. And, and here I am today, and I'm a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I won a world championship, and I've started several businesses. They've watched me start several businesses, and I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying it because I said I was going to do all those things, and I did those things. You go out and do something. I want you to do something. Be special, man, because we live in a world where if you just show up every day on time and don't do drugs, you're better than 90% of the people that you're working with.
That helps.
You'll be in charge.
Yeah.
Within a year, and that's what my kids have done. Like, they've gone places and they're working, and they're like, you want to be in charge? You want to schedule? You want to, and I'm proud of them for that. And I kind of just tell them, this is, bigger days are coming for you. Just be ready. And I hope I did the best I could to set the example, but now it's on you. And my kids are great. I love them to death. They all need a kick in the ass once in a while.
No, don't we all, right?
That's okay. My boys more than the girls. The girls were very self-motivated. My youngest daughter, who up until about 6 months ago, all the kids get ranked. And she was my favorite for the longest time, my youngest. And so the kids always laugh about this, but Jack, and he likes to point it out now, it took him his entire life. He's 23 years old. And 6 months ago, I said, you are my favorite. And he's like, you're kidding me. Like, I didn't realize it was the first time in his life. Like, I joke with the kids and be like, oh, you're my favorite, and it'd be like, 6 months or something. But he's like, this is the first time I've ever been your favorite. I go, it's the first time you earned it, bro.
How did he take it? What did he say?
He was really proud of it. And he goes, why? And I go, proximity. Like, all the other kids are too busy to spend any time with me. And they were, and they know it. And so hopefully it gets them to say, I want to spend more time with dad. But, he lives with us, and he's getting his real estate license, and he does jujitsu with me. So, and if I ask Jack, hey, you want to go watch the fights? He says yes. He doesn't tell me how busy he is. I'm going out with my friends. He says, yeah, let's go. I'd love to. And I go, we're going to have a drink. And he goes, yeah. He goes, I'll call the Waymo. I mean, it's just that easy. Like, he's like, let's do it. And I enjoy all my kids. We have such a great time. I have a great special relationship. I'm so honest with them. And I always tell them, I'm more honest with you than my father was with me. Like, my dad opened up to me, but not the way I open up to you. Like, I tell them everything, the good and the bad and the ugly. And I tell them that because I don't want you to make the same mistakes I did. And let me tell you, I've done a lot of things right. I've done just as many wrong in my life. And I've made mistakes, but the thing is, I never let those things stop me. And I said, I'm going to keep going. I've made mistakes, and 2008 was a really tough year. Before 2019, I would have to say 2008 was a year you owned a business in 2008. It was tough.
And you also had, like you said, real estate investor. So
thankfully, I had to build up the business. There was an in-between time where I'd sold some of my properties. I only had a couple left to build up the limousine business as big as it was.
So the timing couldn't have been better.
It worked out good. It worked out good for me, but it was tough. And we got down to like 3 vehicles where we had 21, and it was me and my brother, and we're trying to feed our families doing this, and nobody's making money. And it was very difficult, but I remember sitting in the office with my brother. And I said, just give me a couple of days. I'll come up with a plan. And I did. And we came up with a plan, and he went with it. He said, you know what? I trust you. Let's go. And my brother's awesome, man. He's Joey De Venuto. He's also a real estate agent. He's at Compass Real Estate.
Is he out here in the team?
Yeah, he's not on the team.
No.
We worked together for 18 years. So we always joke that, we spent enough time.
This is his,
we spent literally 12, 14 hours a day for 18
imagine.
years together. And listen, we have a great relationship. I talk to him every day. So he's my best friend, one of my best friends. So 2008, I came up with the plan, and it worked. But just as we got things going, then, other people come in, and the cheaper version of what you're doing comes in, and everybody just wants to undercut you. And it really got tough where the margins got really thin, and it wasn't really as worth it anymore. We built up a great reputation and a great thing. And so we kept doing it because I didn't really know what else to do, but I wasn't enjoying it anymore.
Okay, so it became less, enjoyable. But back up a little bit, because you brought up one point that I think is relevant today that I'm curious what your take is. So you say there's other people trying to undercut you. And today, even in real estate, you might get some agent that says, hey, I'll list that house for 1% rather than, charging your fees. Someone just trying to discount you just so they can take the business. How do you differentiate yourself? How do you stand out and tell that person, you know what? Yeah, you can go get a discount service, but this is what I offer, and this is, what I charge.
It's hard because people are people.
Mm-hmm.
People they only see the cheaper version, and you can make all the arguments you want about how much better you are. And the one thing I would say that I don't hear a lot of people say, because people say testing me. I hear that script. Are you testing me? Because if I can't even negotiate my own commission, then how am I going to, properly negotiate you for your house? And listen, it's a great script. I get it. But one of the things that I say often is, you are probably asking too much money for your house.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how do I know that? Because almost everybody does.
Yeah. Naturally as a homeowner, if you're selling your house, what you want to make the most money. And if you're buying the house, you want to buy it for the least amount of money.
And I go, your house is beautiful. but it's dated.
Mm-hmm.
And you want top dollar because your neighbor sold his house for $1 million, but he just spent $200,000 to update it. You don't want to do that. And you somehow think you're going to knock off 50 grand and it's the same thing. It's not. A common thing I tell buyers or sellers is that sellers will say, well, I have time. I don't have to sell. Every seller, what is it? 27,000 homes on the market today, right? Every seller says, I have time. I don't have to sell. You got time. Those buyers got options.
Mm-hmm.
They got more. It's a buyer's market. You think yourself, I'll just rent it. You and the other 26,000 that are not going to sell their house, they're going to just rent it too. And that's why rents are down. And so it is. And the reason they can do that is because they have those low interest rates and their payments are still low. So they can wait it out. But that's what's kind of put us in the conundrum we're in now, where it's just taking longer for everything. Interest rates started to come down, and then we started dropping bombs.
Yeah,
and went back
yeah.
up,
You know how it is. Naturally, whenever we're at war, they start shooting back up. So
it's just fear. It's just a knee-jerk reaction. So do I think it's going to go down? I mean, when they stop dropping bombs, maybe, and I think it will. But if we could get somewhere in the fives, I think the market's going to be a lot better. But to get to your question, there's always someone that'll do it cheaper, 100%.
yeah,
You get what you pay for. And, I'll tell you this, just like you said, when I started calling you to recruit you to Bear, did I stop?
no, I was like, this guy is relentless. He's not going to stop either until I die or I join.
I mean, some people will look at that like it's a bad thing, and I say, I'm proud of that.
Yeah, I love that. I was like, okay,
you're not the only one to say it. There's a bunch of thousands of agents saying this guy will not stop. And it's not in a negative way. It's always like just kind of prodding you like, hey, bro, are you going to call me back or what?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give you a little bit of something I learned, that when someone is truly ghosting you, if you just leave them with like, hey, Derek or David, I don't understand. I tried calling you a couple times, haven't been able to get a hold of you. Where do we go from here?
That's the line. Where do we go from here?
It always, almost every time, elicits a response of some type. Now, this is when they've been ghosting you, and they know you've been texting them and calling them, and they've just been ignoring you.
And you think you can use this for like any situation?
Yeah. I use it with my ex-wife.
Okay, so it's battle-proof tested. Battle-proof tested right here.
It works. But my current wife, she'll look at me. She goes, "Do you think that's gonna get?" She hasn't talked to you in whatever weeks or whatever. And I go, "Don't worry, it'll get." And then the next morning, ding, and I'm like, "It worked."
There you go. The proof's in the pudding.
It's a good line. Now she's gonna watch this, and she ain't never gonna.
She's like, I know this line, but that's good because people. I mean, listen, I'm sure there's some study out there that says what, like you have to get through 8 no's before you get the yes, because people just have that defense on them. So that looks like it invokes a response. So you're gonna find out where you really are.
They feel guilty.
Yeah,
that's things they realize. Like, I know he's been calling. It's not that they hate you or anything. It's just like it's always, every time you're calling someone, it's almost always inconvenient. Almost always. It's never the time. And even when you catch them at the right time, they're like, I really just don't want to deal with him today. Right. But when you say you've been persistent, but you're not calling him every day 3 times a day. But every couple of days you're putting it out there. Maybe you wait a week and you say, I just used this the other day with the listing. And I said, where do we go from here? And he responded back and he's like, let's get in a call. I don't want to do this through text. And so we had the conversation and, got things going. It's just never a good time. They always feel like, it's not the right time. And people have tons of excuses, and they got lots of goals and they got no plans. It's the same thing. It's the same thing you're going to hear over and over again. There's a large segment of our population in the world that literally will not do the things that they really want to do because they don't want to do what it takes to do them. And it sounds, otherwise everybody would be a world champion, right?
That's true.
Everybody would be a heavyweight boxing champ of the world. Everybody would be, the richest man. It doesn't work that way. You have to put the work in. And I've watched people, I've watched good people do everything right, work their butts off, and still fail. And so I look at people like that and go, you think you're just going to do it because you spoke it into existence? And no. And so when I tell people, like when you talk to for sale by owners, here's another nugget. For sale by owners, they'll just tell you they'll do it themselves. So there's people that do this all day, every day for 20 years that have a hard time doing it. What makes you think you're going to walk in, put it on Zillow, and it's going to sell tomorrow? Because you're overpriced. You don't know what you're doing. It took me 15 times to get you to answer your phone. Mm-hmm. Who's going to buy your house? You think it's that easy? It's just very difficult. But hey, people are people. You're not going to change everybody's mind. You're not going to get every listing. You're not going to get every sale, but go get your piece of it. I hate when people say it's a numbers game, because I know guys that'll make literally tens of thousands of phone calls a year. Just ridiculous. And it's great. And that's a way you can do your business. I just think instead of ranking how many calls you made, because most of them didn't answer their phone, how many conversations did you have today?
So that's what you'll gauge your success by. How many conversations did you have?
I had a little time yesterday and I was like, I needed to catch up on some of my calls. So I made some calls and my wife's listening. She's like, "Whoa, it's a rough day." They didn't want to talk to me. And she goes, "Why don't you just stop and give it a break?" I go, "No, how about I just keep going until I have one
A
conversation. And I said, and then we can go get dinner." And so I did. It was like 3 calls in, and the next person I talked to him for a while. And you know what? He goes, "I just want to give this a couple more weeks." And I said, "I totally get that. Like, I get it. I'm going to be really honest with you. I'm just going to keep up with you. I'm going to send you my digital business card. I'm going to keep up with you a little bit. I'm not going to bug you. And listen, if you need help with anything in the meantime, let me know. If someone makes an offer and you have a question, call me. Let me try to help you any way I can." And but in 2 weeks, I can probably tell you that you're probably just going to get more of these calls like you're getting from me.
Okay, so this is a for sale by owner, by the way.
By owner. And honestly, it's such a great way to get. It's just free leads. You just got to put the time in. I joke with my son that's getting his license. I go, "Hey, when you start doing this, if someone tells you to go F yourself twice a day, you haven't done your job." And that's
the benchmark right there, because you're going to hear it.
You are going to hear it.
It's not if you're going to hear it. It's like when.
I will tell you that if you're doing your job, they should be telling you that because they don't want to hear it because they've gotten 300 phone calls from other agents. And so that's actually one of the things I tell them. I said, "Do you want the calls to stop? Because I'm going to tell you one surefire way to do it. You're going to end up not selling this home or listing it with an agent. Why don't you just list it with me now? They'll stop calling you. I'm still going to get all the wholesalers that want to buy your house for nothing. And I'll take those calls, but I'm going to sell your house." And I'll tell you the statistics. Literally, if you try to sell your house for sale by owner, 5 to 6% of those people will actually sell their house. That means you got a losing hand, right? Conversely, if you sign up with an agent, it's a 91% chance that you are going to sell your house. Why are you playing blackjack? Because if you are, you're losing it. Like, you just take the 20 every time.
Yeah. And it's the best thing is you're putting that offer out there to them right there. So it's like they have the offer, and it's like, do they want to keep struggling? Do they want to keep these calls going? So they kind of left with that decision right there. And I'm sure sometimes you might get somebody who just says, "You know what, let's talk more about this."
And they don't necessarily, they're not going to say yes right there. People want time to feel like they can think about it.
Sure.
We all know that. I got to talk to my wife and all this.
Of course.
And the hard salesman will give you the spiel is saying, "Okay, I get it. What are you going to do when you ask your wife, what do you think is going to be what holds her back?" And then it's great to get that information. I always like to do it. I forget who it was I saw, and he said, "Make it sound like the conversation's over and then come back one last time with that." Like, "Hey, you're totally good. Go talk to your wife, sleep on it." You give them their excuses. It's great. Go ahead and do that. So, say, "Hey," and I'll just keep in touch. Maybe I'll talk to you in the next couple of days. They go, "Yeah." I go, "Okay. Hey, I'll talk. Hey, you know what? Can I just ask you, when you talk to your wife, what do you think she's gonna say?" And he'll tell you. He's giving you the objection right now. It's not her objection. He just wants to talk to her about it. He's going to tell you. And then you continue the conversation. Because whatever he says, like, "We think it's too much or the timing's off." You go, "Really? You think the timing's off? You have it for sale by owner now. Like, what's the perfect timing for you? Like, what does that look like?" And you just keep talking. And then I have one more rule. Anytime you're talking to anyone, I don't care if you're the girl that's serving you burgers at whatever restaurant.
Yeah.
If you're talking to them, anyone ever mentions their pets or their kids, you stop everything and talk about that. I call it kids and cats.
Kids and cats.
Sometimes if someone mentions their kids or their cats or their dogs or whatever, you say, "Oh, you got a dog? What kind of dog do you got?" They will freaking remember you, man.
Yeah.
And you tell them, "I got a dog. I got a Doberman. It's freaking beautiful. Let me show you a picture. Can I see a picture of your dog?" You will sit there for an hour. They will never forget you. And you say, "You know what? I'd love to. Here's my card." I used to give poker chips with my phone number on them and everything. It's great. I leave them at restaurants because they don't throw them away.
No, it's cool.
And they take them. And the restaurant I go to all the time, like, "Is this you?" There's like 15 of these behind the bar because I go there a lot.
So you make sure.
Yeah,
it's
and
the point.
but no one wants to throw them away. And somebody says they need a realtor. Like, "Hey, this guy comes in here all the time. Here."
These poker chips.
Are
Are you a poker player?
No. I play blackjack. I like to play blackjack. I enjoy it. It's relaxing for me. So
I love it. So I want to end this because we could talk all day.
We could.
There's a question that the last guest left us with that I want you to answer.
What is your main source of clients and what do you do to acquire them? Well, I mean, I kind of alluded that a little bit, is that I do get a certain portion of my clients, probably about a third of my clients, from for sale by owners or expireds. I mean, that's just be a part of my business.
Mm-hmm.
Referrals, and honestly, referrals from obviously friends, relatives, things like that. But to be honest with you, I closed 2 deals. I'm really proud of this. It's going to sound dumb when I say it. You're going to say, I can't believe it.
No.
The last 2 deals I closed, one was for 1.4 million and the other one was for a little over 4. Both of them were real estate agents.
Real estate agents? Like their own personal homes?
No, they weren't their personal homes, but one was the personal home that she had renovated, and I helped her sell it. And she just, and the other one, he's a flipper, and he sells real estate. He sells his own stuff, but he had it on the market for like 150 days, couldn't sell it on his own. I had the conversation with him and said, why don't you just let me do what I do? Let's see what we can do. And, I control the controllables. I control what I can control: pictures, marketing,
Yeah, sure.
your communication with agents. And within 8 days, we were under contract.
No freaking way.
It's not a magic wand. There were some holes in his game, and we staged it a little bit. We did some different things. We took the pictures, but, and I think I talked to you about this before, is that, and I hate baseball, but it's a great analogy. Not everybody plays first base. Not everybody pitches. Not everybody catches.
No, we all have our strengths and weaknesses.
Right. Now, I mean, if the first baseman goes down, I could grab the right fielder and say, come play first base, but he's not going to be as good as the guy that plays first base. So both of these people, like, real estate wasn't their full-time thing. And when they said, give it to somebody, let me play first, let me pitch, and let me show you what I can do. And I went in there and got 2 outs.
Boom, right there and then.
Yeah, nice commission checks. Everybody was happy. Everybody wants. And, both of them said, and we have the one I have another listing coming up with. They're both flipping now a little bit. One's a little bit more than others, but I already have another listing. It's gonna be 1.3 coming up pretty soon here, another month. And then the other guy, I just talked to him this morning. He says, I'm sending you over 2. I want you to negotiate them for me for on the buy side. And hey, I said, I appreciate it. You earn that respect because I did the things that I said I was going to do. Listen, this is a hard business. There is no magic wand, and you can sit there talking masterminds, and everybody can tell you what they do. The fact is, they're telling you what they do, and they do it so well. They are great at it. The reason why I was able to win worlds is not because I knew what's Bruce Lee says. I'm not afraid of the guy that knows 1,000 moves. I'm afraid of the guy that
practice that one move 1,000
times.
I love that.
And it is important. Like, you got to be so good at it. So that's why I won. I was so good at it that nobody could beat me. And these guys that are experts, you have to look and make it your own, but take what they're doing and just don't think like, if I just say this, it's going to work, because it's really like, even tonality. Like, we want to get in front of it. You should try to get in front of every single person you can get in front of. Talking to them on the phone is not good enough. The goal is to get in front of these people.
Okay, belly to belly, pretty much.
Belly to 100%. But if all you got, it starts on the phone. If that's what you got, then literally your tonality and the way you talk and the way you listen and even the cadence that you do it, like, you notice I just did it there because you're all leaning in and listening to what I'm saying. But when I started off by getting very excited, and then you bring it here.
Yeah, it's like you reel them in, and then you get them to focus on what you're saying.
It sounds dumb, and I think it was Jeremy Miner, who's I think he's local out here. I see his Instagram, and he talks about tonality all the time. He said he used to take acting classes, and just to learn tonality and things like that. And so I think it's really important, and he's a really smart guy. There's a lot of smart people. Like, listen, I don't have to take credit that I did everything. I know everything. I'm doing everything. I think the great thing about being a leader, and I tell people this all the time, is not having all the answers, but knowing where to get all the answers.
You brought that up in the beginning of the show. You were telling me that, like, you don't know everything, but you know who to go to. Like a drywall guy, you were talking about that earlier. So let me end this show with one question you'd like to ask the next guest. So these are all going to be real estate related professionals. It could be a realtor. It could be someone in the title industry, something like that. If you'd like to ask them a question and they'll answer that.
What would you like to be better at? Like, what you're good at. What do you wish you were better at in this business?
I love it.
I'd love to hear that and how you do it too, because everybody's got a different answer. And it's like, if you asked me, it would be something much different than you probably expect. And so what do I want to be better at? I'll tell you, I'll answer my own question. Is technology. The technology is just moving so quickly, and I didn't grow up with it. I tell my son, I said, you have an advantage over me at 23. You might not have the experience I have, but you grew up with this technology.
Yeah.
And I think it's important. So you should take advantage of that. Be great. Be awesome at the technology. So that would be my answer to that question, but I'm looking forward to what the next guy says.
Let's see what they say. This is Frank, man. It's been a pleasure, brother.
Appreciate you.
Hell
Hey,
yeah.
wait. Do me a favor. Give me a point.
Boom. There we go. I wanted to end it with just like that.